Good afternoon. So today my topic is all about teaching strategies for the development of emergent literacy skills and teaching resources. First, let us define what is literacy. So literacy is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, and communicate and compute. So using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts, literacy involves a continuum of learning and enabling individuals to achieve their goals. So to develop their knowledge and potential and to participate fully in their community and wider society. So but literacy is also the ability to interpret graphics and visuals, speak properly in multiple situations, and communicate ideas effectively. So it is also to comprehend what is heard. So to navigate through a technological world and to write effectively in multiple genres. So that is literacy means. Next, let us proceed with what is teaching strategies. So teaching strategies have different meanings or different definitions, but it it refers to the methods, techniques, procedures, and processes that the teacher uses during instructions. So the learning strategies and activities you choose to engage students that should align with the course learning outcomes you have identified. So I have here a highly effective instructional strategies. So first, we have direct instructions. Second, interactive instruction. Third, experiential learning. And the fourth is the independent study. So let's talk about direct instructions. So this is what some refer to as the traditional method. So direct instructions is primarily teacher-centered and consists of direct lecturing or vertical teaching. So it is a form of explicit teaching that consists of repetitive practice. So didactic questioning, drill, and demonstration. So this strategy is particularly useful for providing information or developing step-by-step skills. So, for example, presenting a video or a film to students could be considered as a form of direct instructions. So, even though the teacher is not actively instructing students, the content and presentation of materials was determined by the teacher. So, this type of instruction is teacher directed, where a teacher is typically stands at the front of a room or and present information. So next we will discuss the number 2, which is the interactive instructions. So at its names, it indicates this strategy consists of creating learning environments conducive to interactions and discussions. So it posits that learning takes place through interactive communication of knowledge, and these interactions can happen in different forms, so including open and closed group discussions, collaborative project work, or whole class discussions, and etc. So interactive instruction is when students learn through social interactions. Example is the interactive instructions include group discussions, question and answer sessions, debates, and tutoring. So in this sense, a teacher using interactive instruction would ensure you that you have the opportunity to learn from and interact with the other people. So it could be something as simple as a question and answer session during a class, or it might be in the form of debate or one-on-one tutoring. Next is we will discuss the third highly effective instructions is the experiential learning. So one of the seminal works in experiential learning is Dewey's experience in education. So this strategy highlights the primacy of the process of learning over the product of learning. So the purpose is to enhance students' motivation and increase their retention rates by connecting classroom learning to the life world. So this can be happen through engaging students in reflexive thinking about their own experiences and how to leverage what they learned in the past and new context. So example of experiential learning activities include yung field trips for conservation, so mga outdoor, or exploring employment, group work, and out of the classroom. So open-ended discussions, activities, and active and open-ended questioning guidance. Next, the last one is the independent study. So Gaila defines this strategy as the range of instructional methods which are uh, purposefully provided to foster the development of individual students' initiative. So self-reliance and self-improvement. So independent study can also include learning in a partnership with another individual or as part of a small group. So that are the four highly effective instructional strategies. So next, let proceed to the six basics strategies for developing literacy. So this includes making connections, visualizing, inferring, questioning, determining importance, and synthesizing. So first, let us define the word making connections. So making connection with literacy text does not come automatically for students. So like other literacy strategies, making connections should be taught explicitly through a teacher, modeling, repetition, and practice. So there are typically three types of connection that students will be asked to make when reading a text. So this includes text to self and text to text, and the last one is text to world. So when we say text to self, it refers to making connection between one lives and the text one is reading. So teacher may ask students questions such as have you ever felt like the character in this book? Or does story remind you of something that has happened to you? So that is the text to self. Next is the text to text. So it is the connection require linking text form from one of a text so in a different one. So instructors can use compare and contrast strategies for this type question such as how is this book similar to the one we read last week, or does this book make you think about what we read in history class, or maybe as yeah. Next is the text to world. So connection require linking a text to a real world event. So question that prompt to text to world connection include does this remind you of something that is currently happening in the world, or how is this text similar or different from other world event? So teachers may implement making connections strategies through visual aids like posters, think aloud strategies which require students to voice their thoughts out loud, and journaling. Next is the visualizing. So when we say visualizing, it is a literacy strategy that requires students to make mental image or their minds in their minds. So this technique is also known as the imagery. So as a text is read, students are asked to picture what the author is describing. So the use of metaphors, similes, and allusions may be discussed. So as well as descriptive language. All five senses may be activated when reading a text that is full of imagery. Identifying imagery in the text should transfer to writing skills as well. Next, the third one is the inferring. So, inferring is a literacy strategy that requires students to read between the lines and conclude what the author is trying to convey through clues. So, although this is a higher level thinking skills, your young students can learn to infer through modeling and questioning techniques by the teacher. Next is we'll discuss the questioning. So when we talk about questioning, it is an essential literacy strategy. So that enables students to self monitor their textual understanding. If a reader simply decodes the words without asking what the text is saying and clarifying its meaning, comprehension will be lost. So typically, questioning will occur before, during, and after reading as described below. So teachers should model questioning skills. So before reading questions, find out what a student knows about the topic prior to reading. So making connection can be integrated with these techniques. So instructors can encourage students to predict what will happen in the text. Next is the determining importance. So determining importance is a literacy strategy that guides a students to discover the relevant points of a text. Okay, questions that should be addressed when using the strategy include. Next is synthesizing. So the most complex reading strategy. So synthesizing is the process of merging ideas over the course of a text in order to further understanding. So like summarizing, synthesizing requires readers to read the full story. So however, synthesizing doesn't just happen at the end of the book. Rather, it happens as the reader gets new information. So the reader pieces new insights together to understand and make new prediction throughout the book. So we will discuss it about the emergent literacy skills. So emergent literacies encompasses the knowledge, skills, and attitude that a child develops in relation to reading and writing throughout the early childhood period. So starting at birth before the onset of conventional reading and writing instructions, usually at school entry. But emergent literacy occurs in early stages of reading and writing. So for example, a child can begin to write or draw things. So hold a book and recognize some letters and sometimes their sounds. So an example of emergent literacy is a child recognizing letters on a page in a book but not yet being able to read the book. So another example is when a child can correctly identify a letter, its phoneme or sound, or when a child starts to show understanding of what writing is, and that is made up of individual letters. So we have here the components of emergent literacy. So we have first, oral speech. So it is a child can develop a new vocabulary through listening and speaking. Number two is the concept of print awareness. So this includes aspect of identifying letters and illustration on a page. Number third is the knowledge about books. So a child can navigate a book and gain knowledge through environmental print. So environmental print is any exposure to text around them. Number four is the letter knowledge. So it is the process of recognizing letters in context such as a whole world and isolation. The last one is the phonological awareness. So a child recognizes that words are made up of pieces, that there are many components to words such as syllables and similar beginnings, onset and the endings is rhyme. So this recognition plays a role when the students begin to rhyme in this stage. Okay, next we will proceed to our teaching resources. So, teaching resources is a material that is designed to help facilitate learning and knowledge acquisition. So, resources are designed to support as a teacher to plan, so deliver and access our teaching and lesson delivery. So, all the materials and books, a variation and diversification of approaches resources used for different learning styles. So, in order to meet the needs of all students, we're contributing to the professional development and continuing education. So, preparing visual prompts to stimulate the use of color in my slides. So, always help to stimulate the interest and emphasize the key points in my teaching. However, computer-based technology provided opportunity to develop ICT skills thus. So the rule of the resources is to provide a source of learning experience for our learners, so assessing the process of interactions between students and teacher during the teaching learning process. So at the same time, they help students to learn and increase their experience, so meeting different learning needs. So used effectively, they help learners to build knowledge for themselves, so developing different learning strategies as in values, attitudes, and generic skills, laying the foundation for the life learning process. The use of classroom resources is important for both children and teachers to maintain an organized environment while helping children get the very most of their experience, learning experience. For example, PowerPoints, worksheets, and anything else in between is a crucial foundation of for a child's learning journey. So, as a teacher, it is very important to use a wide range of learning and teaching uh, resources from books or other printed materials, so that the students are encouraged to explore issues of interest, engage different learning styles. So it provides hands-on opportunities for use of specialist tools or equipment, so reinforcing learning, supporting and motivating individual learning, fostering independent learning through and extended learning.